My topic I'm going to be presenting is bad apples versus bad barrels. Who is responsible for unethical behavior? One of the most perplexing problems facing organizations today is how to get its members to act ethically, to not cheat, to not lie, to not steal. If we're honest with ourselves, we've all thought about acting unethically or have actually done so at some point in our lives. It's a much more complex topic than what people think it is. That is what surrounds the topic of ethics. Much has been written assigning blame to the organizations themselves. However, others assign blame for unethical behavior to individuals. I am here today to convince you that individuals acting unethically are the ones to blame. I will use empirical evidence and common sense to support my argument. I will ask each of you to take specific and immediate steps to address the problem in your lives. Now let's together examine different points of view on the topic and see how they ultimately point to the individual, not the organization as a whole. What do psychologists say on the subject of the causes of unethical acts? They say we as human beings fall into psychological traps. The first one they call obedience to authority. We are all taught in our lives to obey authority figures, so we automatically continue to obey authority figures in the business world. The second trap is that we need closure. We do not like to believe our fellow man is committing an unethical act, so we ignore their unethical acts. The third trap is called a false consensus. It's here that we justify our unethical acts by rationalizing them. In our minds, we tell ourselves that it's okay because everyone does it. In a sense, psychologists are saying these are traps that aren't our fault. We've been taught a way to behave. We see others act unethically, become blind to them as we convince ourselves it is acceptable, and in a sense, by that rationalization, it becomes ethical. But let's think about this for a moment. Who ultimately has responsibility for our acts? Who is blindly obedient to authority? Who is it that rationalizes their behaviors? I think you will agree it is us as individuals who are responsible. We must act now as individuals. It is time for each of us to examine our own psychological makeup and to think about it in terms of these traps that we've fallen into. Being conscious of our own susceptibility to these traps is the first step toward eliminating unethical behavior in our own lives. Where do human resource managers stand on the causes of unethical behavior? They seem to support the idea that it is organizational cultures that lack ethical standards. In their view, it is the laxity of corporate culture that is the culprit. In other words, humans, when not properly controlled by organizational environments, will act unethical. But I ask you again, who in the end is acting unethically? It is not the culture, it is the individual. Again, it's time for us to take action. We, you and I, must demand that the organizations we work for provide us with the training to recognize and avoid unethical behavior. Even the military has weighed in on this debate. A study conducted at the Air War College of the U.S. Air Force examined both individual causes of unethical behavior and the organizational causes. While they concluded that poor leadership in organizations made it easier for individuals to act unethically, they found that following character flaws which they believe are central to acting unethically. Low self-control, meaning people are easily influenced by the behavior of others. There is propensity by people to rationalize unethical acts. Low cognitive moral development, meaning they have by adulthood not developed the full capability to determine right from wrong. Poor ethical decision-making processes in people are part of the cause. These again are largely individual psychological traits, not organizational or situational causes of acting unethically. Blame for unethical behavior falls squarely on the shoulders of us as individuals. The counterargument to individual responsibility is that it must be the cultures created by the organization itself that cause unethical behavior. Let's take a look at this hypothesis in more depth. Some say it is companies putting pressure on employees to meet or exceed sales and profit goals. Or blame is often placed on the organization through its board of directors. Take the case of Lou Gerstner of IBM, who was cutting jobs to save IBM's profitability and at the same time taking a $115 million bonus while putting 5,000 people out of work. This example is often used as an example of corporate greed. While you can certainly say it was the board of directors, the company, that awarded the bonus, it was really Gerstner's greed, wasn't it, that accepted the bonus. In the study about Gerstner, the author unmasks the idea that corporate greed is the cause of unethical behaviors. He says, so it's really about individual behavior, though some want to call it corporate action. Corporations are legal fictions created and managed by shareholders, directors, and employees, all people who are all individuals. A corporation is just made up of individuals. Individuals are a more specific term of what creates one whole organization. Let's be absolutely clear that it is individuals that are the root cause of unethical behavior. It is us who have lost our moral compasses. It is us who must change the way we think about the decisions we make. It is us who need to encourage the organizations we work for to educate us and explain why we behave unethically. It is really about you and I, isn't it? We need to take responsibility for our actions before we act. Unethical behavior is something we all need to think about more. It is the bad apples, not the bad barrel, that are the culprits. The next time an opportunity presents itself to act unethically in your life, recognize it for what it is. Stop yourself before you act. Develop moral clarity in thoughts and actions in your life, and it will go a long way in helping our society. To help you in this exercise, I recommend that you read this book, The Ethical Executive, by Hoyk and Hersey. Thank you for listening.